He worked in the Obama administration, national director of special events for the President Obama, and coming in from us from Washington, D.C. All right, so you've heard me, Bloviate, and Michael Bloviate. We want to add to that, Mr. Fisk?
Well, I agree with much of your exchange with Michael, and especially Michael's point about the absence of reaching beyond his base. He really could have pivoted from the tone and substance of his first 2 years and started to reach beyond that 40%, even beyond things like infrastructure and everything that people always cite as one of the right kind of targets for bipartisanship. There's things like the skill gap in community colleges and vocational schools that are completely untapped as policy issues, where we're not producing students that match the needs and requirements of our economy. Something like that, I think, really would have raised eyebrows and caused people to think about it. Well, that's actually very true. You and I agree on that. He doesn't care about
he just
that.
wants numbers. He wants numbers, and the numbers are good. What did you think of Stacey Abrams? I mean, what if you were writing that speech? Would you have put those three things in there that are absolutely false?
Well, I mean, I can only stomach so much of an appetite for calling out falsehoods after his comments about
No, don't point to every bad behavior by other people. Let's stay on Stacey Abrams.
I got you. I would, for her to frame that the perceptions of the economy, I think they were very specific about phrasing it that way, because you're right, she wasn't arguing numbers. She was arguing people's perceptions, which is a lot different. Her point about voter suppression, I think, is actually true. It's kind of an official plank of the Republican Party now to limit turnout where possible on the state level. And if you look at probably 24 states and what's been enacted in the last 15 years, it's all been about decreasing the number of certain constituencies voting. So to finish on that point, it is a legitimate thing to cite as a concern.
Do you really think most Americans feel there's voter suppression in this country? Come on, it's not an issue that anybody resonates with anybody.
I don't think it as in like cocktail politics world, no. But in terms of people going down to their local junior high gymnasium and having an issue and not being able to vote, yes, it's an issue.
I don't know anybody here on Long Island who has that problem. I don't know one single person. And Newsday, a very, very left-wing newspaper, if they could find one, they'd put her on the front page or him. Why do you think that CNN and CBS polling showed 3/4 of the nation approved of the speech?
I think there's a built-in, you and Michael were just talking about when the Democratic women celebrated and then he kind of layered a joke on top of it and they both kind of had a nice moment. There's a civic diet in this country. There's a part of us that wants to see these people, if not cooperate and collaborate, at least acknowledge each other's humanity. And those kind of moments can really break very well for a president. It's a very tilted playing field in the sense that there's one president in front of 535 members of Congress. So it's really the president's to lose. I think every president should be able to go out there and put together a coherent 60 minutes about where they want to bring the country.
I think that's a good point.
I start with the idea that the president's going to win the night because I think the dynamic.
Right. There were some feel-good moments instead of all the strife. I said that the president's speechwriter and himself, of course, made a mistake in saying that there were countless murders by illegal aliens that gave the press the opportunity to run right in and do what they always do. Did you see any other mistakes that Mr. Trump made last night?
There was one just about pace and tone, which is, I think, normally in terms of protocol and the symbolism of introducing your guests and the stories behind them, maybe towards the beginning, and then building the architecture of the rest of the speech around those guests as you move along. I found it odd to go from issue to guest, issue to guest, issue to guest. It was very choppy. And then last, to answer your other specific question about flaws, the comment about oil production has been the case for 7 years. It started under the Obama administration.
Okay, but
well,
it's
not insignificant.
Even you, a Democratic strategist, have to say pretty good night for Donald Trump last night. It's a pretty good night.
Yeah, I think any president must be able to go out there and own 60 minutes. If they can't own the State of the Union, they're absolutely in the wrong business.
But he also had Nancy
Pelosi. I mean, the dynamic plays for them.
and the other white-clad people staring at him. Hey, Roger, always a pleasure to talk with you. Thanks for taking the time.